Eric Rothschild is the lead attorney for the parents who sued the school board and won. And Richard Thompson is the attorney for the school board and is president and chief counsel of the Thomas More Law Center. Thank you both for coming on the program. Appreciate it. Mr. Thompson, you really got an intellectual spanking from this judge, huh?
Well, I think the judge ruled in a particular way, discounting the evidence that was presented by two credible scientists, Michael Behe and Scott Minnick, who testified not on the basis of religious conviction, but on the basis of the empirical data that they observed through their instruments that certain biological systems are so complex that they could not be explained by Darwin's theory of evolution, which involves natural selection acting on random mutations. Here's what
the judge said about the lead defense expert. The lead defense expert admitted that his broadened definition of science, which encompasses intelligent design, would also embrace astrology.
Well, again, that was taken out of context. At one point, astrology was viewed in the same light as astronomy, and merely Michael Behe was merely making the assertion that at some point some scientific views develop out of what are basically superstitions. Mm-hmm. But to take Michael Behe's statements about the bacterial flagellum and the irreducible complexity that he sees in these various cellular mechanism is basically a scientific theory. What concerns me also is this judge places himself.
You guys need to places himself. Why don't you just come clean? No, wait, just come clean. I mean, just come clean and say, look, we feel that we can make an argument here, and that's what you made. You made an argument, and look, it sounds like you made a legal argument, and you called in experts, etc. But the bottom line is, this is about religion. Just say it. It's okay.
It's what?
It's about religion.
It is not about religion. It's about scientific theories, one scientific theory versus the other. And the court should not place itself in the position of determining the validity of a scientific theory. This should be done in the scientific community, debating it out, arguing
because no one in the science. You guys have so little support in the scientific community, and that's the reason that it's so difficult. You say, let's debate it in the scientific community. There is no debate in the scientific community.
Well,
you guys are viewed as this outlying source that no one believes as a scientific matter.
You know what? The Big Bang Theory, when it started out, Albert Einstein looked at the person who developed the Big Bang Theory.
So we just throw up our arms and we say no science is valid, right?
Well, you're saying that just because a position is a minority position, therefore it is invalid.
You said you're the one who said we should debate in the scientific community. I said they did, and you lost.
And let it debate. No, the debate is still going on. It's a new debate.
Number one, this is the ruling again from the court. Intelligent design's official position does not acknowledge that the designer is God. However, it is notable that defense witnesses admitted their personal view that the designer is God.
Isn't that an argument? Isn't that a fallacious argument? Just because a person personally believes that the designer is God, all at once disqualifies him from making a scientific conclusion. That is an argument ad hominem.
Yeah, Mr. Rothschild, look, I think it is a valid debate to have in this country about the extent of religion in public places. It's a legitimate debate to have about where religion should be placed in schools, etc. But what really just drives me nuts about this is the notion, as I just said to Mr. Thompson, that I view this as a dishonest argument. It seems you guys the judge gave you sort of an all-out win here, huh?
Well, hang
on, let me ask Mr. Rothschild.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you, Dan. And this really is a complete victory. It's a vindication for these parents who stood up for their kids to make sure that they got good science education and didn't have particular religious views imposed on them in school. It's a great victory for the legal team we put together, my colleagues at Pepper Hamilton.
Okay. I don't want to hear all about sort of how great everyone is, but let's talk about the substance of what we're talking about. I mean, the bottom line is, this is number 5. This is what the ruling said. The disclaimer, and this is about the intelligent design disclaimer, singles out the theory of evolution for special treatment, misrepresents its status in the scientific community, causes students to doubt its validity without scientific justification, presents students with a religious alternative masquerading as a scientific theory, directs them to consult a creationist text as though it were a science resource, and instructs students to forego scientific inquiry in the public school classroom and instead seek out religious instruction elsewhere. When you were coming into this case, Mr. Rothschild... when you came into this case, were you concerned about the fact that, you know, look, this case to some is viewed as political. I don't view this as a political case, and the fact that you had an appointee of President Bush. President Bush has expressed some support for intelligent design. Were you concerned about that?
Judge Jones always gave us the chance to try this case fairly, and you have it exactly right that this has really been a dishonest argument. One of the things Judge Jones said in his opinion is that he was astonished to find out that the intelligent design textbook used in the Dover high schools, Pandas of People, has a creationist history, that when we were able to discover the drafts of that book, it was written as a creationist book, and only after the Supreme Court ruled that creationism can't be taught in public schools, they just changed all the words.
And here's what it says in the book. I mean, this is quoting again from the opinion. What kind of intelligent agent was the designer? This is a quote from the book. On its own, science cannot answer this question. It must leave it to religion and philosophy. How do you respond to that, Mr. Thompson?
Well, that's exactly right. The experts that we presented showed, well, the experts that we presented said that there is an intelligent design, and that's how far the science goes. But as a personal viewpoint, both experts said that they believe the intelligent designer is God. Just like the evolutionists many times use Darwin's theory of evolution to propound an atheistic theory or a theory or a religion of secular humanism. Both theories have religious implications, but those religious implications should not make the theories invalid. The Big Bang theory has a religious implication. So I think you have to look at what the scientists said, and those scientists that were subject to grueling. Well, I mean, that's one viewpoint. That's one viewpoint, and the judge should not have gone that far.
Mr. Thompson, you didn't actually think you were going to win this case, did you?
We thought that the judge, we thought we could win this case.
Come on,
yes,
really?
We did.
You really?
What you have to keep in mind, Dan, you have a 1-minute statement read to biology students that mentions the phrase intelligent design twice. The policy further goes to say that students will only be taught evolution, will not be taught intelligent design, nor creationism. The founding fathers would be rolling over in their grave if they thought that the Establishment Clause, which they enacted, would be used to throw this modest curriculum change out the door.
Mr. Rothschild, your response?
Yeah, their lead expert, who claims to be doing science, has written that this is a theory, intelligent design, that is more persuasive the more you believe in God. This is about making the case for God. It's always been about making the case for God. In fact, it's the historical argument for the existence of God.
You get the final word, Mr.
It's ironic. Okay, it's ironic that in 1925, in the Scopes trial, the ACLU was on the other side of that trial, and they said that there should be no dogma, no orthodoxy in the public education system. That once you turn the public education system into an orthodoxy, you're not teaching anymore, you're indoctrinating, and that's what this judge's opinion does. It indoctrinates the students to mean that there's only Darwin's theory and there cannot be any criticism of that theory.
Mr. Thompson, you get the final word on the substance. Very quickly, are you going to appeal?
It's not up to us. The Dover School District,
there's a new board,
I think has made indication. They're probably not going to appeal.
Right. All right. Mr. Thompson, thanks for playing with us. Eric Rothschild, I appreciate you coming on the program as well.